go through the startup and the syllabus, show you around Blackboard so you know where to find things, have a quick look at the textbook, website, and hopefully that will have us ready to start work on Friday. Okay? If you have any questions as I'm going along, please do just jump in and yell at me. And yeah, I think that's it. So we'll start looking at the Blackboard page, I think. You're going to be very impressed, Kayla. I'm getting the hang of this now after the last semester's debacle.
That's good to hear.
I've been practicing. Okay. All right. So I don't know why my clip art isn't showing. That's very strange. Okay, so here's the home page for XBiz. The textbook and that information has been up for 2 weeks now, so I'm hoping that most people have some version of the book ready to start. The notice about being in class, which those of you who've dialed in obviously read properly, well done, excellent. So then there's some startup guidelines in the syllabus here, so we'll take a look at those. Just to point out, over on the left-hand side on that column, there is an email messages link and a discussion board link, all right? And then you've got, obviously, the classroom that you found today, and underneath the classroom is a link for my office hours. So if you want to come and talk to me during office hours, click on that link and it'll take you into a collaborate room. It's just separate from the class room, okay? And then we'll come back and have a look at assignments and things in a minute. Okay, then I need to go back here. You can all see that document. So this is just some suggestions for beginning the course. I would recommend that you spend a little bit of time browsing around that Blackboard site. Once we finish today, you should have an idea where everything is. Have a quick look at it, check that you can open folders, things like that ahead of time. We have an introductions discussion board there because you're not on campus and you're not getting to know each other in the classroom. This way at least we'll all know where we are. Are you here in Portales? Are you somewhere else in the country or in the state? And why are you taking the class, or what are your interests, or are you an athlete or a foodie, or you know what? Just a couple of sentences about yourself so that we all get to know each other a little bit. And that will make, hopefully, it feel like a bit more of a cohesive group. We'll go through the syllabus today, probably quite quickly. Please make sure that you read it more thoroughly before you do your participation agreement. All right, you need to make sure that you understand everything that is in that syllabus. If you've got any questions, check in with me first before you do your participation agreement. All right, browse through the textbook. We're going to cover, it's a new edition. I don't have mine yet. I've got the e-version, but I haven't got my real book. I feel a bit bereft. It's a new edition. They've got a couple of new chapters which I've built into the syllabus because I think they're going to be very interesting for us. They're very applied type chapters that I think that we will enjoy. Have a look at the user's guide at the front of the book to make sure that you know what features are being built into the chapters to help you and your learning curve. Make sure that you activate your online resources as quick as you can. So the book is the next edition. It's got a darker cover than the last one, all right? And then on the inside cover, they probably haven't moved it, it's probably in the same place, is a box that you'll have to scratch off. That's got your key code in it to activate the web resources for the book, all right? I'm going to communicate almost solely through Blackboard unless there's something wrong with Blackboard. So it's very important that you check Blackboard several times a day for emails and announcements from all your instructors, okay? Don't leave it for 3 days and then miss an announcement that there was a test due, okay? And then down at the bottom here is a link from the university. They've tried to put together some techie information to help students who are working from home, okay? If you're having problems because you're at home, so like if your Wi-Fi is really, really slow, or you've only got one computer in the house and there's 5 of you trying to work from home, for example. So if you run into problems that are going to impact your ability to be successful in the class, please let me know, because student services have told us that they have resources available for you. So they specifically said, you know, if your Wi-Fi is really slow and you're having trouble, for example, submitting your assignments, let me know, and they're going to magically fix that. I don't know what their plan is for fixing it, but they did say that they had a plan, which I thought was very impressive. Okay, so you know, don't struggle. If this is just the most unpleasant situation trying to do all this online. Don't struggle at home, okay, with the technology. Let us know if you're having problems, and they can try to help you out. Okay, you don't need to be paying out of your pocket for additional Wi-Fi bandage or whatever it is when you've already paid to come to school, all right? Let them deal with the problem for you, all right? Okay, so, more importantly, the syllabus, let's have a look at this. Oops, that's not the right one, Sarah. Okay. All right, so office number and office phone. I really am not planning on being in my office at all this semester, so I'm meant to put them on there, but they're not really going to be much use to you. For spring, okay? As much as you can, use the email messages facility in Blackboard, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. Here are my office hours. Don't panic if those don't work for you. If you've got classes at that time, or you're an athlete and you've got practice then, or you have an afternoon job, then, you know, don't feel like, oh, I can't ever get hold of Dr. Wall and talk to her. Just drop me an email and let me know that you need an appointment, okay? And I can do that at many other times during the week, all right? Then some repetition of some of the information that's on the Blackboard page. Pre-req. Okay, so a couple of things to be aware of. You should not be in this class if you don't have either, oh, and it isn't HPE 241 anymore, either structural kinesiology or a biology A and P with the lab. All right, so if you don't have either of those classes, you probably need to let me know and get out of the class, okay? Also, you should be concurrently enrolled in the lab for this class, so make sure that you're in 313L as well as 313, all right? If there are more readings, there probably will be more readings. I will have them loaded at Blackboard for you, and I'll let you know that they're there, okay? All right, New Mexico PED competencies. So if you are K-12, so Kayla, or if you are a health and wellness student who is planning on going home and taking alternative licensure to be a PE teacher, okay? You need to pay attention to these competencies because they relate to that licensure exam that you have to take at some point, all right? I don't know anything about them, so if you want more information than that, you'll have to talk to Dr. Liu, who is our pedagogy specialist, all right? She's new last semester, she's excellent, and she's the PE teacher education person, so she'll be able to give you more information about that if you need it, okay? All right, engagement. I don't give grade points for coming to class, and I don't deduct grade points for not coming to class. However, if you're missing class and it's unexcused, you're on your own to catch up the material, all right? So it's important that if you have excused absences, you remember to let me know ahead of time, preferably, all right? So, and I'm pretty flexible with excused absences. If you've got a vet appointment or you've got to take your sister or your grandfather to the dentist or, you know, something came up, we all have things that come up. So, you know, it's fine as long as you let me know, right? If it's an excused absence, then we can talk and I can help you catch up the work, all right? But if it's unexcused, no, that's not happening. You're on your own, okay? So make sure you let me know ahead of time if you're not going to be here for a good reason, right? Complete reading assignments. So you should be looking at the chapters ahead of us coming into class, okay? And we have pre-chapter quizzes set up to encourage you to look at the chapter ahead of coming to class, all right? I'm not trying to be mean, but learning anything takes practice, okay? A lot of you I know are athletes of one type or another. You all know that if you're going to learn a new movement skill, you have to practice that movement skill. Learning in any domain is the same, right? So if I want to learn the exercise physiology material, I have to practice it. So pre-chapter quiz is skim through number 1, right? Coming to class and listening to me witter on is practice number 2, all right? Reviewing your chapter and your notes and the website is practice number 3, okay? That will give you a much better foundation for success than if you just come to class, you kind of pay attention, and you don't put in a lot of study time. Okay? So just think about that. The pre-chapter quizzes might not be worth a lot of points, but they are very important to your learning curve across the semester. Okay? What else here? Okay, here's what we have coming from an assessment point of view. There are 5 exams. They come around quite quickly, as you'll see on the syllabus, but that's because I try to keep the amount of information you have to look at for each exam relatively small. All right? It's not rocket science, but it also isn't English 101. So I try not to overload how much you have to look at and study for each exam. They're not cumulative. Right? Exam 2 covers the material from exam 1 up to exam 2, and so on. Pre-chapter quizzes I already mentioned. We're going to do a physical activity portfolio, which I'll talk to you about in a minute. And you're going to write an exercise prescription later in the semester. Okay? That's quite a ways away. Email, just pay attention to this last statement, please. I will not be replying to emails that come to me in Outlook. All right? Unless I have been told by IT that Blackboard isn't working. Okay? And I'm doing that for your good because what happens in Outlook is I get piles and piles and piles of junk email. I get piles of administrative emails. I get piles of emails about, other things that are going on in the university, and sometimes I don't see if you send me an email there. But if you send me an email through Blackboard, I cannot miss it because Blackboard gives me a little number tag going, you've got 10 emails you haven't answered yet, right? So you're going to email through Blackboard, not through Outlook. Okay, make sure that you have downloaded the Blackboard app so that if something comes up and you're not at your computer, you can still get an email to me. Okay? Be prepared. Guidelines, there'll be guidelines. I'll go through everything with you anyway in class. There'll be a grading rubric for pretty much everything. Instead of closing the assignments on the due date, because that didn't work last semester, so I'm not an online teacher, so I'm learning all these new things. Closing the assignment did not work. So instead of closing it, the assignment will stay open, but there will be a 1% deduction for every day it's late. All right, so you can submit work late. There shouldn't be any problem in submitting it late. But there will be a deduction if it's late. So try to meet the deadlines. If there's a deadline you cannot meet and you know you're not going to be able to meet it, right? So I can't meet it because I'm studying for an exam in another class. Or I can't meet it because my parents are coming to town because they've missed me and I'm going to be busy with my parents all weekend. Or I can't meet it because whatever, right? Email me. I don't care about extending the deadline, right? As long as you take responsibility and ask for an extension ahead of time, okay? I am fine with extending the deadline if you need it. Don't try to meet, don't try to take 3 exams on the same day. Email me and say, Dr. Paul, can I take my exam the next day or can I have 2 days, right? It doesn't matter, okay? The 1% deduction isn't trying to be punitive, it is trying to keep you on track so that you don't allow your work to build up and get overwhelming. All right? If you need accommodations, please get in touch with Accessibility Resources and they will let me know what I need to do to help you. All right? Academic integrity is kind of difficult to be cheating and doing things like that when we're all in different places, but do pay attention to the plagiarism, all right? I encourage you to work together. I encourage you to email each other, to talk together, to get each other's phone numbers, to chat. Try to make this as if you were really here, right? Try not to be sitting at home on your own, slogging through the whole semester. But if you're working with someone on a piece of work, that doesn't mean you can both hand in the same piece of work, right? It means you discuss your ideas and then you go away and you do the work on your own. Unless it's a group project, but there aren't any of those in here. So, okay, so think about that because that's one thing that can sometimes catch you out. Okay, schedule. Should go pretty smoothly. It is a new textbook. I do have to change some of the PowerPoints, but I'm expecting on the whole for this to run pretty smoothly according to the timetable. We have President's Day off, so that Monday is out, but that gives you an extra day to study for the first exam, so that's always good. Frustratingly, we do not have class on the 7th of April. That would have been the Student Research Conference if you have been on campus. They've cancelled the Student Research Conference, but they've still cancelled classes for the same day, which makes no sense to me whatsoever, and it's very frustrating because we're already 3 days short on this schedule compared to a full schedule. So it's possible that I may say on the Monday that sometime you need to watch this film on YouTube to cover that lecture. It depends how these new chapters go, right? But we can't not do that lecture. We can't. And there's nowhere to put it, all right? So we'll deal with that when we get to April, okay? Exam number 5 is in finals week, but it is not cumulative, so don't panic. It is on the material since exam 4, right? It just happens to be in finals week, okay? The next 2 columns have all the things you have to do and all the dates that those things are due. The only thing that will shut on the due date will be the pre-chapter quiz, because the whole point of it is you do it before we start the classwork on it, okay? Everything else will remain open. What else in there? I think that's all I need to highlight. Again, make sure that you read it carefully before you do your participation agreement, all right? Okay, let's have a quick look at the textbook. What page? Ah, where'd it go? Wrong one, Sarah. Okay. So this publisher has its student resources and things set up in a different kind of link. So you're looking for the point, Lippincott Williams. And when you go in there, I'm assuming you will click on the link for the students. So you will click here. And I've looked at this for a long time. I'll store it. My content. It's bringing up my content, but before you get your content up, you'll have to enter the key code for the book. If you're buying the ebook, you should get a key code to get access to this. I just don't know what that will look like, but I've never bought an ebook, so I don't know whether you get the key code like in the first page of the ebook or whether it's a separate thing that comes. Okay, I can't help you with that, but let me know if you're having problems. Okay. This is what the cover of the 3rd edition looks like. We've gone from soccer to basketball. And then you'll click on your student resources, and they've got animations and flashcards and extra questions to help you with the material in the book and some videos. Okay? So those will all make studying a little bit more fun, hopefully. All right. Any questions so far? No? Okay, so if you go back to your Blackboard page, on your left-hand column here is an assignments link. Okay, now at the moment you can't see the study help or the exams. I've got to get those cleaned up and opened up this weekend because of the change in the layout of the content and the 2 additional chapters. I've got to do some work on the study help, which has some documents. So there's an exam info, and under the exam info there'll be class review questions and answers for all the class review questions. But I have to go back and tweak those to match the new textbook and add the new stuff in. All right? There's also some reviews and animations to help you out with some of the material. Okay? If you're using a Mac or something else that is not a regular PC with Microsoft on it, please be careful how you submit your work, because one of the problems I ran into last semester was that I was getting a lot of documents from people who were working on Macs that I could not open and grade. Okay? So please make sure that you submit a Word, an Excel, or a PDF document. Something that I'm going to be able to open and grade and give you feedback on and return. All right? If you have any techie trouble whatsoever, other than things like, oh, my Wi-Fi is too slow, but if you have actual techie problems, I can't open this, or I can't submit this, or I don't know how to turn it into something Dr. Wall can read, on the front page, when you're on your front page of your Blackboard, on the right-hand side there is a Distance Education Learning Help Desk number. Okay? Call them, they're brilliant. They'll fix, well, I've never had a problem they can't fix. So I think they'll fix anything you can come up with. All right? Do not call the IT help desk. They're useless. They're IT people, not Blackboard people. Okay? So if you ring the IT help desk, they're going to go, oh, I don't think we know. We can't help you with that. And you're just going to get frustrated. All right? So just go straight to the Distance Education help desk and they'll be able to help you out. Okay? Pre-chapter quizzes. So your folder for pre-chapter quizzes is under assignments. All right? Your exam folder will be under assignments. Your physical activity portfolio is under assignments, and your fit prescription is under assignments. So I'm not very techy. I try to keep everything very simple. Okay? Hopefully you won't have any problems finding anything you need. If you do, let me know, and I can tell you where it is. All right? Let me show you the physical activity portfolio, because that you've got to start this weekend. All right. So the physical activity portfolio, we'll have a look at the guidelines in a minute, is a kind of ongoing project for you across the semester to support the work that you're doing in class, and also as a way of making grade that doesn't involve an exam, because exams for some people are hugely stressful, and with the best will in the world they put in lots of work and then they go in the exam and the work that they did isn't always reflected. All right, so the portfolio is a way of kind of helping you out, but also a way of getting you to really think about how am I going to use this information that I'm learning in the real world, right? So, open that. Come back here. Okay. So one of the things that I'm hoping you'll take away at the end of the semester is how to incorporate aerobic physical activity into your lifestyle, right? So if you're a runner and you love to run, and every morning you get up and the first thing you do is go run, and you love it so much that probably isn't going to change as you get older, although you might not get out every day as you get older and you get other responsibilities, then, you know, you've probably got most of your aerobic work covered. But for a lot of us, we're athletes who do mostly anaerobic work. All right, I was a really bad gymnast. Gymnastics is anaerobic, right? Basketball is anaerobic. Football is anaerobic. All right, so unless I'm a runner, then I'm likely to be training and practicing things that are anaerobic. They're great skills, right? Some of them are lifetime movement skills that are ways you can enjoy moving for the rest of your life. Some of them aren't. Gymnastics isn't, football isn't, basketball is, right? So they're good skills, they keep me strong, they keep me flexible, they keep me engaged, but they do not keep my heart and my vascular system healthy. And when we look at the lifespan, a large number of the diseases that can end up ruining your quality of life and or killing you are related to your heart and your vascular system. So keeping those healthy is very, very important, all right? And when you're a gymnast, you maybe go for a run for about a mile, 2 miles, 2 or 3 times. That's not enough, right? You might not do anything, right? So what I want to do is create a situation where you have to think a little bit more deeply about your aerobic work and your cardiovascular fitness, okay? So, the guidelines, and they don't change much depending on whether you're looking at the DHHS or whether you're looking at the ACSM or you're looking at the American Heart Association or the Diabetic Association, the guidelines stay pretty consistent. That for really substantial health benefits, you need a minimum of 150 minutes a week of moderate level aerobic work. Okay, and we'll talk about these intensity measures over the next couple of weeks. So the link I've given you is to the Department of Health and Human Services. I gave you that link because it's it's very user-friendly, B, it's very not geared to athletes, right? The ACSM website has great information on it, but it's quite rigorous and it's a little more geared to people who are regularly physically active, right? So going to health.gov is a slightly different perspective because they're more geared to the regular population, which you are not, right? You are a tiny, tiny percentage of the population, otherwise you wouldn't be in this class, right? You like to move, you enjoy being physically active, and you're regularly active, right? You are a small minority of the adult population in this country, okay? So their website is very user-friendly, very easy to read. It gives you lists of things that you can count as aerobic work. So when we're talking about this, you'll notice that I haven't used the word exercise. At least I've tried not to, right? Because physical activity, to be healthy for the rest of my life, does not have to be exercise. It can be exercise, but it doesn't have to be exercise, right? So if I live somewhere that actually has trees, for example, right? Instead of getting a leaf blower, I get a rake, and I rake my yard once a week for an hour, and then I pick all the leaves up and I stuff them into bags, or I set a bonfire or whatever I'm going to do with them, right? That's physical activity. It's aerobic, and it can make you more healthy, right? This theme of it not having to be exercise will come back a lot during the semester, right? Because we're athletes, we tend to think that to be healthy I have to exercise. That means going for a run, or it means going to the gym, or it means getting on a treadmill, or a bike, or a Stairmaster, right? That's great, but it doesn't have to be that, and the majority of people aren't going to engage in that kind of physical activity, okay? So, you are going to start logging as of Saturday, in case you've got any questions on Friday, all right? So as of Saturday, you're going to start logging your aerobic physical activity. And you're going to log it every day for the semester. And what we're trying to see is, do I make my 150 minutes? Do I do more vigorous aerobic work, in which case I don't have to do 150, I can cut it down, right? You'll see as you read the document. Okay, so at the moment, what you need to start with is logging the activity. You need to be thinking about, how hard do I think I'm working? Do I have a heart rate monitor I can measure how hard I'm working, right? And we're going to look at building this portfolio with these items, all right? Tomorrow in lab, we'll talk about setting goals for your physical activity portfolio, okay? So the portfolio comes in twice, once at midterm, once at the final. The midterm one doesn't have a lot of grade on it because typically they tend to be a little bit weak because you forget to ask questions up to midterms, right? And then we hit midterms and all of a sudden everybody has questions, okay? Try to ask questions, right? Just because it's due at midterm doesn't mean you can't bring it to me, well, email it to me, I guess, 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks ahead of time and go, am I remotely on the right track with this, right? So the more often you show it to me, the more feedback you'll get on it and the better it will be. Okay? Then let's see, what else, if anything, do we need to talk about today? Oh, class notes. Okay, you can't see the class notes link. I will get that open tomorrow. I just have a deadline today that is getting in the way of doing anything. That class notes link will have lecture notes, other readings, articles and things that I want you to read, and some other information that's just kind of interesting. So, as I said, I'll get that open tomorrow so that you can get out the class notes for Friday. All right? Anything else that you need to know? What have I not remembered to tell you that you need to know? If you are hesitating about buying the book, because they're always expensive, think of it this way, right? This book is brand new, up to date. It's going to have the most up-to-date exercise, physiology, training principles, information in it that you need, okay? Most of you, not all of you, but most of you are probably looking at either being a PE teacher, a coach, a therapist of one form or another, a personal trainer, or a gym owner, right? All of those jobs need this information. So, if you can, try to think of buying the book as an investment in resources you're going to need when you go out to work, right? And if you can, don't sell it back at the end of the class, because it will come in handy for a long time. And it's cheaper than the ACSM textbooks, which are extortionate. Okay? So now, have you looked at any of the ACSM textbooks, Ryan? There's a couple I would like, but I ain't spending that money. They're insane.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what libraries are for. So, okay. Any questions? Concerns? All right, lab tomorrow is at 11 o'clock. You will need your workbook, because we'll be doing a couple of the workbook pages tomorrow. Okay? So please try to make sure you have the workbook for tomorrow, otherwise you're going to be a bit lost about what we're doing. I think that's all I have for you today. Friday we will start chapter 13. So what is going to happen between now and Friday? Guys, you're breaking my heart.
You're gonna read the chapter for the pre-quiz.
For the pre-quiz, yes! All right, the pre-quiz will open at 3 o'clock. You've got 15 minutes. It will close at 2 o'clock on Friday. Okay, there's 2 attempts for each quiz. There's like 4 questions, and you have 6 minutes. It's really quick, but you need to have looked at the chapter before you attempt the quiz. But you do get a second attempt. Okay? All right. I'm going to love you and leave you. Dash home. Get online in time for office hours at 3:15. If anybody has questions, you can jump back into office hours. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow morning. Okay?
Thank you.